So we are going to do the calculation of the Malmquist productivity index. We're going to do that calculation, and we're going to do it in R. We're going to do it in R. Now, for that to happen, there are two things. We are either going to do it with benchmarking, or we are going to do it with our fear package, either benchmarking package or fear. Now, I want to know which one of these you have. Now, for you to know which one you are going to use, okay, you either must have a different R version and a different R Studio version. I want to repeat. You must have a different R version and a different R Studio version. So here's what I mean. And please watch me carefully here, because this is quite tricky. I'm going to type something on the screen here for you. Now, for the benchmarking, this is what you need, okay? You need current R Studio. You need current R Studio plus current R. Whichever one is your current is up to you. So for benchmarking, you need a current R Studio and then your current R. Now, which is the current R Studio? Well, oh, sorry, which is a current R? Let me share something with you. Okay. I'm just opening my R Studio. I can tell you for sure that the R Studio I'm having now is not the current R Studio, because I'm going to use the old or something. But I want to show you something. Okay, so pay attention. Now, how do I know that my R is not the current? Well, when I come here, okay, and I click on, sorry, my R Studio, and I click About R Studio. Do you see my screen?
Yes, Doc.
When I click my About R Studio, at the version here, I see 0.99.903. I deliberately installed this one. Okay. I deliberately installed that. When you look at my laptop, I have both of them installed. Okay. Now, this is the current R Studio. This is the R Studio I'm using now. And it's not the current. Okay. It's not the current R Studio. Okay. So let me close this. And then go and show you the R I'm using. To show the R, you click on Tools, you click on Global Options. Okay, click on Tools, click on Global Options. And then in the version here, you see that I have R2.14. To be honest with you, to be able to use R to estimate a Malmquist, you need this. You need R Studio version 0.99.903, the one I showed you earlier. And then the R itself, you need R2.14. Okay. Now, what are the different R's there? When you click change, you see the current one. Okay. You see the current one here, which is what? 4.03. I even have 4.01, 4.00. I've installed all of them. Okay. I have 3.6. I have 3.61, 3.52, 3.10, 2.14, which is the one I'm using now. So anytime you come and click the one you want, you click OK, you run, and then you close and you reopen. That version of R will be running in the background. That version of R will be running in the background. So which R version are you using? Can each one of you check, which R version are you using?
Doc, his mine is 4.0.1.
Good. So yours is not even the latest, 4.0.1. But that's okay. It is 2 steps behind the latest, which is all right. Okay, who else?
Doc, I'm using 4.03, but it's not running on my computer again.
When you say it's not running on my computer, I don't understand. How did you know that you are using that? Did you go to the tools global option that I said?
No, my R does not even open for me to check all these.
You mean you've never used R before? That's what you're saying.
I've used R before.
Have
When
you
I was
used R
downloading it,
Studio
that was
before?
the yeah, I've used R Studio before. I remember when I was downloading, that was the version I downloaded. But this morning I was not able to
Open your
open
R
it,
Studio.
and I've been trying since.
Open your R
It's
Studio.
not opening.
So say R Studio is not opening. That's what you say first.
Yeah,
That's
R
what you,
Studio is not opening.
yeah. It's not R we are talking about. It's your R Studio which is not opening.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So if you have R Studio installed and it's not opening, did you install the R Studio I mentioned? I sent to you guys.
Yes, Doc.
Yeah.
No, not you. She is the one saying
Doc,
thing.
I have the same challenge.
Which challenge?
I am able to open the R Studio, but when you click
Which
on the
R
tool,
Studio version?
nothing
Tell me
pops
that
up.
first.
Doc, let me check. The one you sent
You
me.
don't know the version.
Downloaded.
The most important thing to do is to know the version. See, all of you should go and check your R Studio version you are using.
Doc, a 0 points. You sent us the 0.99.
I know, you just tell me what you have there. Click on the help and click about R Studio and tell me the R Studio that you have there. I said R Studio version.
Doc, please, mine is 1.3.959.
Good. Now you are telling me your R Studio version. Okay. That is around the latest version. And I sent you an older version. Do you remember?
Yes, please. I downloaded it, but I didn't install that because I still
Big
have
mistake. So what you were supposed to do was to install it.
Okay. I only installed the R. I installed the R, but I didn't install the R Studio. But I can do that right now. I'll close the app and I'll do that right now.
Yes, install the R Studio. You must always have the installer, okay, the install package with you. The R Studio, the current version, and the one I gave you. You should have it somewhere in the folder. And the R, the current version of the R, and then the one I sent you, which is a 2.14. You must also have that also in another folder. You must have all of these three installers packages in a folder.
Okay.
Now, the one I sent.
Doc, please, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So if I install the older one, will it overwrite the newer one that I have?
Older what? You see, we are talking about two different things.
When I install the older R Studio, will it overwrite the newer one that I have, the newer R Studio that I have?
Majority of the time, it does. Occasionally, it doesn't.
Okay.
So if you want to use the newer one, you have to reinstall it again next time.
Okay. I have the installer package, so then that won't be much of a problem. I have the installer package for the newer R Studio.
Good. And the good thing is that you must have the installer package for everything. So guys, somebody should write it there in the chat for you. You must have the installer package for R Studio 1.3, blah, 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 the latest version. And as far as I'm concerned, the latest version is 1.3.1. That's the latest R Studio. You must have that, the installer package. Then you must have the old package, which is 0.99.9. And that actually is a zip file. The one I said, it's a zip file, unless you have a non-zip file. But it's a zip file. So what you do is that you got to unzip it into a folder. But you got to keep all of this in one beautiful folder. And then you must have the latest R, which is 4.0.3. And then the old R, which I sent you, which is 2.14. So somebody should note it down, okay? I'm just trying to see if I can write this thing down for you, okay? R Studio current, as it stands now, okay? The current version, okay? You need that, which is 1.3. Then the same thing. The same thing, okay? Old version, that one is 0.99.903. That's what I've just typed in the chat for you. And probably somebody should type this one in the WhatsApp group. So that's the R Studio packages you should have. Installer package. Then for the R, you need R, okay, version 4. And please, if you don't have this very latest version I'm talking about, no problem. You can use what any version 3 point something is okay. Okay. Any version 3 point something. The current version, okay, is 4.0.3. Okay. That is current. Of course, next time somebody might be watching this video, the person will realize that that's no longer the current. And then the older version that I sent to you guys is R 2.14. That is older version. And what I'm saying is that this older version here, we use it for the fear package. And then the current version, we use it for benchmarking. Benchmarking for estimating Malmquist. I've typed all of this there. And I've also put that in your. So these are the packages you must have in your folders. Do you see the packages, by the way? Do you see the packages?
Yes, sir.
You see the packages I've typed for everyone.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So get these packages and then put them down. That's all I want to say. Okay, let's move on. We can't let everybody be doing this, okay, before we finish. Some of you have not even downloaded, and your internet will not allow you to even finish downloading. So this is it. Now watch what I'm going to say. The older R Studio should match with the older R version. The older R Studio matches with the older R version. And the current R Studio is used along with the current R version. And all that I'm saying is that for the package, there are two packages we use to estimating the efficiency and productivity. We will use a package called benchmarking. We also use a package called fear. I'm saying to you that the benchmarking package, it always go with the current R Studio and current R. The benchmarking always go with the current R Studio and current R. And then the older, the next package we'll be using is fear. Okay, frontier efficiency. I think for frontier efficiency for R or something. Okay, we'll be using that one. Let me just show. Okay. Frontier efficiency analysis with R. All right. So that fear package, it is an old thing. So it goes with old R Studio and old R. It goes with old R Studio and old R. So do you guys get it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I'm going to do now, and please now you want to follow me, is I'm going to show you the slides. Okay. I'm going to show you this slide. And what I want to do is, the slide you see on your screen is for the benchmarking. But I'm going to start with the slides for R. So it's going to start with this slide here. So if you look at this slide, I have written here that instead of benchmarking, we are using fear package. We are using fear package. And by the way, the fear package is another thing. Did I give you guys a fear package?
Yes, please, you did.
Yes, sir.
So the very fear package, in fact, the fear package that I gave you is fear 1.15 or so. Okay. So that is the fear package. You see, most packages, you download them in the R Studio. But this very fear package, because it's old, it's a zip file, so you can't download them. So I'll show you how to bring it up there. Okay. I want to share something with you. I've created a folder, and this is a folder. Do you all see the folder?
No, Doc, we're still seeing the slides.
So a few minutes, you should see the folder.
Okay, we see it now.
All right. So you guys can see this folder here. This is the entire folder you need. Okay. And the folder is made up of R version 2.14, R version 4.03. This is the old and the new. And then in terms of the R Studio, you have the old and the new. The old is the one in the zip here, 0.99. The new is 1.3. And then I have the fear package, which is a 1.15. So this is all you need to run every R, efficiency and productivity studies. So maybe I need to send this to you. I've given it to you in patches, piecemeal, but I need to send it all to you. Is that okay?
Yes, Doc.
All right. Now, with this, if ever you are going to use fear, which is what we are going to start with now, what you will first do is that you install this one, the R Studio 0.99. Okay. So that's what you will do. I'm going to show you something here. I'm closing this. I'm closing this. I'm closing it. I'm closing my R Studio. And now this is a zip file. Are you still in the folder?
Yes.
This folder here is a zip file. You have to unzip it. Okay. It might be slightly different from everybody. I don't know, but it might be slightly different from everybody and the way everybody looks at it. But with mine, it appears that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unzip it right here. Okay, I'm going to extract to R Studio, blah, blah, blah. So the folder has just popped up. Do you see? Do you see?
Hello, Doc.
Yes, hello, Doc. Please, we see it.
All right. So the folder has just popped up here. I've unzipped it. Once you do that, okay, you can open it. And when you open it, you see something called bin in the folder. Okay. You can open the bin. And then you scroll down. Okay. And at the bottom, you see R Studio. Last but one or so.
Okay.
Is there. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So this is it. It's in blue color. Okay. That is it. That's what I'm going to double click to open. So I'm going to do that now. Double click. It is opening. It is opening. It is opening. It is opening. and it has opened. You don't see that. So let me just change the screen for you. This is a screen. Do you guys see?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Now you can see that straight away, it is telling me that the RStudio 1.13 is now available. Do you see that pop up?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
And it is saying that you are using 0.99. So the RStudio that I'm using, which is the one I just unpacked, the version I'm using, the older version I'm using is 0.99. And don't click quit and download. Always say remind me later in this context. Do you see that remind me later symbol?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, no.
I'll click it, remind me later. Okay. So that I will continue to use the older version of the RStudio. Now that I'm using the older version of the RStudio, I need to make sure that I have my older R. So you go to the folder again. Okay. Go to the folder again. So this is a folder that I came to. Just going back. And then in this folder, you will double click and install R 2.1. I've already installed it. Okay, so I will not bother. But when you double click to install, this is something that you see. You guys see something like this, unknown publisher, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, please.
Don't worry, click run. Okay, so usually you click run like this. And then it will take a bit of a time to install. I will terminate the installation because I already have it. Normally this one will come, install, you click install. Do you guys see a select English version?
No, please, we are still seeing your folder.
No.
Your efficiency and
We're
productivity.
still seeing the folder.
Oh, okay. I think it's a pop-up. So because it's a pop-up, it's a new window. So it will not. Let me see. Do you see something like this?
Okay, yes, please. We are seeing
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a new window. So anyway, I'm not going to continue, but you will now click OK and continue and blah, 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 and install the RStudio. And install the R 2.14. When you install the R 2.14, you wouldn't really know. It will just tell you that installation is finished. But then it will be in the memory, okay, of the RStudio. So how do I know that I'm using R 2.14 now? Once the installation is finished, I'm closing this. Okay. I'm going to go back. Any question on this before I go to the concept of innovator? It's just 2 slides. It's just 2 slides. Any question? No? Good. So let's move on.
Okay.
Now, the concept of innovator. Now, all the firms are doing well, especially the firms that are experiencing productivity. Okay? But it's not every firm that is experiencing productivity is the one shifting the frontier. So the whole idea of the concept of innovator are which firms are shifting the frontier over time. When we say they are shifting the frontier over time, what we mean is that they are innovating. They are innovating. They are undertaking process or product innovation. They are undertaking some R&D investment. And you might notice some of these things in banks and in other industry. For example, there are some banks, every technology that will come, have you observed that? It's like when there's something unique, they will bring it, like telephone banking. When there was no telephone banking, they will initiate telephone banking. When there was no mobile banking, they will initiate mobile banking. When there was no kiosk banking, they will initiate kiosk banking. When there is no something unique. They engineer this. Have you observed that in Ghana? With some particular banks? Which bank?
Yes. Yeah.
Fidelity.
Fidelity. Which other bank?
EcoBank.
EcoBank. So,
ABSA.
okay, thank you. So these banks, what they do is that sometimes they will learn from the parent companies abroad and they will initiate some innovation. Now, these banks, we call them the shifters of the industry. They are the movers and shakers of the industry. And your job sometimes is to identify those innovators, because once you know them, then you can advise management to copy from them. So every year, this can give you some extra indication about those DMUs that invested in product or process innovation. And therefore, they are defining the efficiency estimates of the other firms. They are the pace setters, okay? The super role models that you want to copy from. How do you identify that? You use the technical change score. You use the technical change score. The technical change will tell you what happened to the frontier at the input level and mix at each DMU, but not if that firm actually shifted the frontier. So the technical change will tell you, you see, a firm can have a score, a productivity score of 1.5, which means that the productivity improved by 50%. But it doesn't mean that if two firms are having that, it doesn't mean that both firms are innovators. Both firms are the movers and shakers. They will have the same productivity score. And yet, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are the shifters. To tell who are those shifting the frontier for the others, use the technical change score. To get this, we examine the part, a part of the technical change. So what is the formula for that? This is the formula. So a DMU is said to be an innovator if it shows in periods T and periods T plus 1, the first year and the second year, that 1, the technical change is greater than 1. That's the first thing. So first, that firm's technical change must be what? Greater
than 1.
So let's go and check which firms have got technical change greater than 1. These are the technical changes. Watch it here. In this, which firms have got technical changes greater than 1? Almost all of them, except the first one.
All of them, except one, yes.
All of them have got a technical change greater than 1. So B, C, D, E. Now, let's continue the next condition. The next condition is that this score must be greater than 1. Now, this score is very difficult to interpret. In other words, the efficiency of a firm in year 2 relative to the frontier in year 1 must be greater than 1. The efficiency of a firm in year 2 greater than the frontier in year 1. Now, this actually is a distance function. So the distance function of a firm in year 2 relative to the frontier in year 1 must be greater than 1. Okay. It must be greater than 1. Now, so we need to go back and go and check which firms, and I'm going to use the distance functions for these firms here. So watch here. What is it? So this is a distance function, but we are going to take the reciprocal of that, efficiency. So this is a firm in year 1, a firm in year 2 relative to the frontier in year 1. Okay, a firm in year 2 relative to the frontier in year 1. This is it. Okay, and remember that's how I actually interpret it. Okay. So when you look at this, and it says it should be greater than 1. So when you look at all of these ones, okay, the one that is greater than 1 is DMU. What?
DMU D.
Yeah, but honestly, I just realized that. I just realized that the distance function, should be greater
than 1. Then the normal technical one will be less than 1.
Say that again.
So I'm saying that if we're using the distance function, that is when we say that it should be greater
Yeah, I
than
made a
1.
mistake. Honestly, it's supposed to be this, isn't it? It's supposed to be 2. Because when you look at all of these, the one whose score is greater than 1 is this, isn't it?
But why are we using the normal technical and not the distance function figures?
Why are we using what? Sorry.
Why are we not using the distance function figures to interpret it?
The reason why we are not using that is that when we were dealing with the technical change,
Yes.
we converted the scores to greater than 1. You get a point? So every score we get, we have to just convert it to greater than 1. I mean, we have to convert it. We have to take the reciprocal. That's what I mean.
Okay.
So
Then
we are not
if we change the if we take the reciprocals, then once the command change, like the law, then it should rather be less than.
It won't change. It won't change. And the reason why it won't change, okay, I think it's supposed to be less than 0 or what do you call it, 0 or something, but it won't change. It won't change. You should still remain the same way. It won't change. It won't change. It will still have to. I know you're going to say that it should be less than 1.
Yes, that's what I.
But it shouldn't. It won't change. It should still remain that. Okay. It should still be greater than 1 in both cases.
Okay, Doc.
And so in this context, the one that is having a score greater than 1 is this. In fact, there's not only, it says,
it's B and D.
It's 2 of them.
Yes.
It is B and then D.
Yes.
I think I made a mistake and only highlighted D. But it should be B and D. B and D. So please note B and D. B and D. This is important. It is this one. It is this one and this one. They are all having a score greater than 1. Then the last condition is that their own period second year distance function should be equal to 1. Okay. Or their own period efficiency score in year 2 should be equal to 1. So now we are dealing with these two. Okay. And when you look at their own period efficiency score in year 2, also equal to what? 1. Okay. So the innovators are DMUB. These are the innovators. DMUB. And let me tell you something. If you go and check the graph very carefully, okay, I'm sorry, I need to just take you to the graph to appreciate something here. Okay? But sometimes when you have the graph, it helps you. Okay? Now, DMUB, there's no doubt, if you look at where B is, there's no doubt that it was on the frontier and it has shifted further, isn't it?
Yes.
So DMUB is obviously shifting the frontier. He's defining the frontier for the others. Okay. Because if we were to have another firm here, that firm will be the one defining the efficiency scores of the others. And you can see that B is really doing well. Now, what about D? We didn't plot D earlier. We did not plot D earlier. But if you should remember carefully, one of you was telling where the score should be. Do you remember? You can tell us what was the first score, the plot for D? Check
in year 1, it was 1.5 and 3.
Okay, so hold on. I want to share something with you guys, because this is very important. Okay, 1.5 and 3. Okay, 1.5 and 3. Okay, 1.5 and 3. Now let's look for 1.5 and then 3. This is it. This is where it's supposed to be.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That's in year 1. Okay, now let's look for year 2. What was the score?
Year 2, it was 2 and 2.
It must be somewhere on this graph. So let's see, 2 and 2. Okay.
Yes, please.
Exactly on the graph. Okay. Now you can appreciate why it is a shifter. because there's no way you can shift the frontier. You know, if you are not on the green line, you must be on the green line, because the green line is a year 2 frontier. You must be on this green line, and your distance you were before the green line the previous year, there must be on, you must be on, what do you call it? There must be a gap. There must be a gap. Okay, and it's truly, the fare was inefficient before, wasn't it?
Yes.
And yet it has stretched itself all the way to be on the frontier, to be a benchmark, a standard for others to measure their efficiency relative to it. If you look at A was all right. It was on the frontier, but A didn't move. You get a point? A was stuck. So even though A was on both frontiers, A didn't move. It didn't shift the frontier. But D for dog did it. It was not even on the frontier in year 1. And then all of a sudden, it caught up with the frontier, innovated. As for B, it was on the previous frontier and shifted the frontier. So if you are to talk about who is really a super innovator, who would that be?
D.
If you take your time, be careful though. If who is the true, well, if you can't see, you can look at the scores. The scores will easily tell you. There's no doubt that it's B, and I'll tell you why. Okay. So when you look at B, okay, you just go to B. When you look at B, for example, if you look at the score here, it is more than the D1.
Yes.
They are all having 1-1 for the last condition, but if you look at the score here, he is having a 2, and he is having what? A 1.17.
1.7.
So B for boy is the Superman innovator, but of course, it doesn't rule out the fact that D is also an innovator.
Okay.
Now, when you look at also their technical efficiency change, look at B. B was having 58% progress. D did good, but it was having what? Just 11% progress.
Okay.
So if you have to look for the innovators, it is D and B, but B is a super innovator. So this is how you identify the innovators of the industry. Okay, we'll be looking at more examples of this so that you'll begin to appreciate. So those of you identifying innovators, this is how you will have to analyze it. Now, there's another way you can estimate the score. I've just used the fear, but you can also use the benchmarking. Okay, so please, I have the commands here. My advice is that go and learn the benchmarking yourself. Okay, rename the data set. Okay, and then use these commands, and everything itself. I didn't want to do too much for the benchmarking because it gives you only the 2-part decomposition. Okay, the scores. Okay, if you look at the last command, it gives you the efficiency score and the technical. Just that, nothing more. That's what you see here. I've done it here for you. Okay. And here for, but it wasn't giving the decompositions, the others. So I decided not to concentrate too much on it. But then benchmarking is also very good. But for you to do benchmarking, you should know by now, you should use the latest R and then the latest R. That is how you attack these things.